We are looking at chapter number 1: what, where, how, and when. And this is related to the history, past. We will discuss about how do we know about our past? Who are the people who are involved in this? Every one of us, you and me, we always have this in mind. Rashida is reading a newspaper and she saw 100 years ago and she thought, how do we know what happened 100 years ago, 1000 years ago, or a million years ago? Whatever is happening now, you can just go to a television, live telecast. You can listen to the radio. If you want to know what was yesterday, you can just read the newspaper. And what happened last year, you can go to someone or Google it, ask them. But what about 100 years ago, 1000 years ago, or many, many years ago? How do we know this? How do we know the history? History is the chronology or chronological order of how the events have happened, how the life was there long back. So what do we want to know? Why we are interested? Everyone has interests. We would like to know, like Rashida is there. They would like to know what people ate, say 1000 years ago. What people wear at that time. How do they stay? Means what kind of houses they live. So what is the difference? What are the changes? That is how we will be able to know about the hunters, people who hunt. Herders. Herders means charvaha, people who graze cattle. Farmers, rulers, merchants, vyapari, traders, priests, craft persons, those who make craft using their hand, artists like singer, musician, and the scientists who invent and discover things. So what was the scenario there at that time? And since you are a child, you will be glad and utsukta to know what kind of games people or children play, what stories do they hear, and what plays they see, what kind of songs they sang, on what do they dance also, or how they celebrate some festivals or anything. How do they celebrate it? So let me start with this river. You have to keep this river in mind. Narmada, in between Vindhya and Satpura. Vindhya and Satpura are the mountain ranges. This is Narmada. And this Narmada and Tapti have a very special, unique thing, that they start and end at Arabian Sea. Most of the rivers in India, in the southern part, they start on the Western Ghats and they end at Bay of Bengal. Narmada and Tapti go into Arabian Sea. So you know the location now. And what we have known about these people, they were good, skilled gatherers. Sangrahak means they can gather what they want and what is suitable for them. That is, they don't make their food, they gather their food. And they know about the forest. If they have a very good knowledge about forest, they collect the roots, fruits, different fruits, and all the forest produce that they may employ or use as their food, like say honey, like kandamul, anything which jungle provides them. And they hunted the animals. Who? Those people who live near Narmada river. This is what is known about them. Now let me take you to the northwest. This is north, this is south, this direction is east, this is west. So this direction will be northwest. Northwest. I'm taking you to the northwest, and we will see here two hills, Suleiman and Kirthar. Kirthar and Suleiman. These are two hill ranges, northwest. And it has been seen that here, 8,000 years ago, we have known the facts that people were actually growing wheat and barley, gehu, jaw, wheat and barley 8,000 years ago. They were also rearing animal, making them, domestic, sheep, goat, cattle, like guy, bhas, and they lived in villages. We'll talk about cities just now, but they used to live in villages. Let me take to the right side now, that is the northeast side now. This northeast side, which is the Garo Hills, you see below Brahmaputra, it's Garo Hills. And one more place I will take you, Vindhyas. We have already visited here. This is Vindhya, just above Narmada, or Vindhya, Narmada is below Vindhya, you can say. This Vindhya in central India. And when all the history was read, it was being seen that in these two places, rice was grown. And this is the first place or rice was first grown into the north of the Vindhyas. Listen to me very carefully. This is Indus. Indus will come again and again. This is called Indus. Sindhu Ghati ki Sabhyata, the Indus civilization. If we will have a proper discussion on this Indus civilization, Sindhu Ghati ki Sabhyata, Indus. So this Indus, India, that is how India has come. Okay. Now what we have learned about this river Indus, and 4,700 years ago, earlier cities were there on the banks of this river, Indus River. And we are talking about 47,000 years ago. And when we come to Ganga and Son, Ganga and its tributaries, that is from right now 2,500 ye4700 years ago, Indus. Ganga and Son 25, right? Ganga and Son 2,500 years ago. So let me tell you first of all, what are the tributaries and distributaries. If a river is going and some stream or river comes and joins it and add the water, that is tributary. And one stream, if it goes away from the main stream to some other place, that is distributary. Let me tell you again, 4700 years ago, cities, and 2500, that is Indus. 2,500 years ago, near Ganga and Son, it was what? This Ganga, we have seen the developed cities. So this Ganga and Son area, we have Magad. This area is called as Magad. Magad, just remember with the name of Bihar. We know Bihar, everyone knows Bihar. So this Magad you can remember by the name of Bihar. Actually, it's not totally Bihar, it's southern Bihar. It's southern Bihar. This is the area I'm showing you. Southern Bihar. So this, there were 16 Mahajanpadas. One of them was known as, that is known as Magad. Jainism and Buddhism, these are the two religions which were developed here, or they were, you can say, started and prospered here. There are two Vansh empire, Maurya Empire and Gupta Empire. They originated, developed, flourished in Magad only. Let me tell you one name, that is Bimbisar. Bimbisar, Magad. He belongs to Magad. He was Magad king. Now there are certain things like wind, air, thoughts, and birds. You cannot stop them. They will always migrate from one place to another. There is no stoppage. Why do people migrate? They may go for job, seeking job, finding job. If there is certain place which is always flooded, which has always drought, means Sukha and Baal, people tend to migrate. If at that time long, big, giant armies, they used to go from one place to another to conquer, to get those places. For these, people used to migrate. Merchants to trade, to give and take things, to get profit, go in caravan, sometime in ship. Then the religious people, those who have adhyatmic religious thoughts, teachers, so they go for two different places in order to give their advice, instruction, their ideas, religious preachings to different village towns, to people that our religion is, why it is good, why you should follow this. So prachar, like basic preaching. And there are people like you and me who want adventure in life. So they go to different places like Columbus and all those who have actually discovered different lands, different countries. For adventure also, people migrate, go from here and there for excitement. These are all the reasons why people migrate. Now let me tell you that India is a part of Asia. India belongs to the biggest continent of the world, which is Asia. 7 continents are there. Asia is the biggest continent. We are here. But if I take Al Island, and everywhere it is water, so you can easily delineate it. You can say this is a dweep because you know that it's a land, around that we have water. So if you add Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, India is there. India is here. We are talking about Indian subcontinent. Nepal, Bhutan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Now let us have some neighboring countries like Afghanistan, like Iran, take China, take Myanmar or Burma. Now all these are delineated like from other parts of Asia. That is why it is called as Indian subcontinent. Like it is in Asia, but it can be separated by different hills, mountain and sea as a very different part which is inside Asia, that is Asian continent. That is why we call it as Indian subcontinent. The name I took because they have a proper boundary, or they can be delineated. They are clearly different from other parts because there are hills, mountains and seas. Bharatiya Upamahadweep, Indian subcontinent. People came here, they stayed here, and they enriched the culture. So always, whenever people move, they go from one place to another. The culture is advanced. For example, how Iranian make food. If you go to Kashmir, you'll see that kind of flavor you can understand. If you go to Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, you see the main the people eat idli, dosa, vada, sambar. So this is how culture meet. Now let me tell you, I told you that I am going to talk about Indus River. Indus River. The word India, Bharat, Hindustan, all these are referring to India only. The word India has come from what? It has come from Indus River, Sindhu Nadi. Sindhu was called in Sanskrit. So when this is Iran, this is Greek. When these people, these trader, these people from these various countries, they used to come here. So this was Sindhu, this was Indus. So they called everything which is on the which part? East part. The ilaka, the place which is on the east of Indus River, they called it as Hindos, because they used to come for our spices, our silk. So they don't know the name. So they just started saying when they go back, they says anything which is east of Indus is Hindos. That is how Hindustan word and India has come. India has come. Indos, India, Hindus, Hindustan. Like Pakistan, Afghanistan, all have Tan, right? So Hindustan, India. And how about India? The name Bharat, we have to go to the mythology, the various Vedas. In Rig Ved, it is clearly mentioned, and those people or those group of people who used to live in the northwest in India, northwest part, those people who live here, they call this region as Bharat. Bharat. That is how Bharat also is known. So Bharat, Hindustan, India. So how do we know? How do we know that what happened in the past? Rashida. Remember Rashida? So if you get a book which is written, you can just read it and you can know what was happening at that time. But books are there, but there are other ways also. At that time, people used to write using hand. So those were called as manuscript. Manu comes from manual. Manual. It has come, manu, M-A-N-U, has come from Latin word. Manuscript has come from manu, M-A-N-U, which has come from Latin, and the manu means hand. And this is also called as Pandulipi. Pandulipi, manuscript are the same. Whichever things are written by hand. See here, this is a palm tree. This is a palm tree. So here, along with this palm tree in Himalayas, we have a tree called birch. So these are bark of the tree. On these, people used to write. This is what we have got. This manuscript, if you see here, we have actually got all these manuscripts. And these Pandulipi manuscripts, because they are from the, trees, so they get destroyed or eaten by insect. But they are somewhat preserved in areas like temples and monasteries. At that time, we are able to understand what were the religious beliefs, how they practice their religion, what are the lives of the kings, the shasak, what is the situation of medicine, doctor, nurses, were they there or not, what is the science at that time, science and technology. Along with this, the epics, poems, plays, all way of entertainment, what was at that time people used to entertain themselves. These all are either in Sanskrit or Tamil we got. Sanskrit, mostly in Sanskrit, and Tamil also. Tamil is what is spoken in Tamil Nadu. Sanskrit is our ancient language. But in Prakrit also we got. Prakrit means if you take a certain region part, those people who speak one kind of language in a very, very secluded area or very defined area, that is Prakrit. Prakrit is not everywhere, it's just a local area. So this is how we know. First thing I told you that we know about past using manuscript. The other way is inscription. What is inscription? The name itself suggests that those things, those content, those writings which are written on a hard material, like the stone, like the metal. So whatever we write on stone and metal, these are inscription, godna, likhna, ukerna. So on this metal or these stones, mostly the kings and queen, they used to inscript the orders they have so that others should follow. And also the kings, Raja, whenever they get glory or they win in certain war, they used to write. That is how we know it, because it's written in stone metal. See here, this is in Arabic written on just a stone, carved out of a stone. So first question was what? Who does it? We are just reading, but who actually does it? Archaeologists. Archaeologists are those people who, what was done in the past, what were the things used in the past, stone, brick, painting, sculpture, all those things which were used in the past, the study of these things or these objects are done by archaeologists. See, here is an archaeologist. He has dug a place to excavate, to find out. This archaeology shabd has come from archive. Archive is library. Archive is something which is stored, which is there. We just need to take it out. So what were the tools? They try to understand the tools, weapons, pots, pans, ornaments, even the coins, sikke. And these all are being studied, excavated, dug, and kept, taken care by the archaeologist. Even the bone, even the baked clay, or something made by the metal, all these are the job of the archaeologist. Stone and metal, they are not perishable, right? That's why we have these information. These all things we have got, and this tend to be 4700 and to 2500 years ago. They also learn about the bones, animals, birds, and fish, but it has to be made clear that some things are perishable, something are not. So this is the job of archaeologists. Now we have historians, itihaskar. They don't go and do this khudai and digging things. They don't do that. But they learn about the manuscript, inscription, all the archaeological things which are done by the archaeologist. So all the people who study all these, and they keep the records of what has happened in a chronological order, in a date-wise manner. These are historians. So these historians and archaeologists, they are like detectives, jasus, that what they have got today, they tend to take it back and try to formulate a life out of that. So in this book, if you see, the topic was past, not past. It is plural, because for a farmer, the life will be different, and for a king, the life will be different. Same goes for a merchant, for a poor people, or for a rich people. So there was a difference of a mine for what is the past. So the kings, as I said, whenever they win, they used to inscript. So that time, because they were rich, but the hunters, fishing folks, ordinary people, gatherers, farmers, herders, these people, they were not rich, so they can't inscript. They don't even understand how to do this, because they wouldn't have thought that we will be learning about them, we will be reading about them. So these inscriptions are only for kings. Normal ordinary people life we don't know right now, not that much. We know, but not that much. Whenever we talk about dates in history, if you go around 2000 years back, that is the birth of Christ. The birth of Jesus Christ, and he is, you can say, a god of Christianity, founder of Christianity. So when his birth, it starts as 0. His birth taken as 0. Now take back any date you take back, you will add a BC, before Christ. So if you go back 1000 years from the birth of Jesus, it will be 1000 BC. If you want to go ahead 1000 years after the Jesus Christ birth, it will be AD. BC for before Christ, AD for Anno Domini. But this is Christianity, related to Christianity. But those who are, you can say, secular, they say, okay, we'll not use the Christianity term, we'll use this one. So what they added, they said, if you want to go 1000 years back from the Jesus birth, add BC, before Christian era. If you want to go, say, 1000 years after the Christian Jesus birth, you can go call it as 1000 CE, Common Era. So BC, AD for Christians, Christianity, BCE, CE for the somewhat religious fact. And from today, it's before present. Right now, what is today? If you carbon dating and everything is used. From today, what was the date back? We use this AD, this BP. So BP before present is equivalent to before AD1 from here, today. Okay. So I hope you know what this dates means. If I say 2005 AD, that is after death, Anno Domini. Don't use it as after death. And there are different symbols, there are different things which are found in different parts of the world. For example, there are excavations, symbols are being found. There are different mix of symbols. So different people like say Egyptian and Greek, if they found it out, they sat together and they tried to evaluate, they tried to decipher, they tried to, you can say, decrypt the code. And they found that whenever this line is there, they used L. Whenever this bird is there, they used A. And that is how they actually found out what they have written in long past, that is in Atit. So this is all about there is discussion today, but we will be taking a very short summary, so that whenever you have an exam or you have to just go through quickly, you can have a look. So we'll take it in the next discussion. Till then, thank you so much. Take care of yourself.